Delivery became common starting in the mid-1800s, going into the first half of the 20th century. As families moved during the industrialization period, those who moved to urban areas had no space for their family cow and would buy from local dairy farmers ready for delivery. When it all started, the milkman would go door to door bringing a metal barrel full of milk. The people would come out with whatever containers they had, and the milkman would fill them up. Back in 1879, the first glass bottle, also known as the Leicester milk jar, was invented and made deliveries easier for milkmen. And this helped the beginning of dairy farms, tracking how much their consumers were paying for. A man by the name of Henry D. Thatcher invented his own design for a glass milk bottle, the first to include a cap. More people began creating their own versions, and by the 1920s, designs and advertisements had already began to get etched on the glass bottles. Up until the 1950s, in places like Toronto, Canada, deliveries of milk and other goods like eggs, meat, and bread were delivered in the early morning by horse-drawn carriages. Statistics say that almost all milk consumed in the United States was delivered directly to the home during the 1920s. Rolling forward to the early 1970s, it was approximately 15%, and when the 1990s hit, it was less than 1%. This is the story of Virgilio Fabbri,
the milkman extraordinaire, what I call myself. I started in 1985 for a summer job. For a job, I was 20, I wasn't quite 24. I did summer help with a guy on the milk route. I worked for the Winnipeg Free Press when I got out of school on a delivery route on Portage Avenue to coffee shops and wherever anybody that took the paper, anything on Portage Avenue that, like Shoppers Drug Mart or places like that. When I was in high school, I delivered Chinese food. So I was kind of in the delivery industry. A gentleman by the name of Jack Gagne, who later became my boss, had 13 routes in the 80s and 70s. I did summer help with one of the routes heading up the Highway 59 to the Grand Beaches, the beaches and the summer resort stuff. And obviously enjoyed the work. And then after the summer ended, Jack Gagne, who owned the business, offered me he had a route up that he needed a guy to work. And so I worked for him. I started working for him in 1985. The early mornings got a bit getting used to. When I first started in 85, my loading time was 2:30 in the morning because I did quite a bit of residential, 275 houses when I first started. So that was a bit early, well, a lot early. But you get used to it, and finishing early in the day, then you beat the traffic. What also really intrigued me of the job, it was full-time job, but only 4 days a week. So you worked Monday, Tuesday, and then you had Wednesday off, and then you worked Thursday, Friday, and then you had the weekend off. So it was great to have a break in the middle of the week, kind of recharge your batteries, and that was another part of it that I really liked. Is that, this is good, working full-time job 4 days a week, not working 5 days. Back in the beginning when I started in 85, it was dairy products, bread, eggs, cheese, of course, which is the dairy part, butter, yogurt. And then the eggs and the bread part of it faded away when home service kind of dropped off, when everybody started going to the supermarket to get their stuff. So in the beginning, it was more than milk.
As grocery stores emerged into one-stop shop supermarkets, it was just as, if not more convenient to purchase milk from the store instead of having it delivered to your home. Following World War II, ownership in vehicles increased and made it significantly easier for people to grab their groceries, which resulted in a large reduction of the need for daily deliveries. People started moving out to more suburban areas after World War II, which started making it difficult for milkmen to make their deliveries efficiently. The longer the distance, the higher the costs, which of course resulted in people starting to pick up their milk while already out doing their shopping at the supermarket. The cost factor in the United States caused the paper cartons and plastic containers we see today to eventually replace the glass milk bottles. A process called pasteurization was developed to extend the milk's shelf life, which made it easier and cheaper than ever to just buy milk while at the grocery store.
An opportunity came up in 1996 that the dairy that my boss got his milk from had a route come up, and I thought to myself, well, this has probably be a good time to maybe branch into, because of course working for yourself, you're gonna hopefully make more money. So in '96, a route came open and I purchased it, and it wasn't much of a route when I got it in the beginning, but I canvassed the hell out of it and made it viable and acquired business in this industry just when people retire or some guys are selling out, or a couple guys, one guy went bankrupt, so I acquired a bit of business from that, and so accumulated business from other people's misfortune at times got me to, you know, it being a full route. Mondays and Thursdays were my best days because I did a lot of schools, and I liked, you know, going into the schools with the milk, and the kids get excited to see you because, you know, you're delivering chocolate milk or white milk to them, and those were the days. I didn't mind the home service either. It was nice because that's kind of a different animal in itself, you know, that, you know, it's early morning because you got to get the milk there before 8 because, you know, most people nowadays are 2-income households, so and that I didn't mind. It was a good break. You did your home service and then you'd get your commercial, and it's two completely different things. It's, you know, your commercial is bigger drops and your home service is, you know, 2 or 3 2-liters to a house.
Back in the day, home milk delivery was a mainstay for many families. Milk can spoil as it's perishable, and homes didn't have refrigeration units, so daily delivery was the safest and most cost-effective way to deliver in the 1920s. Nearly every home had a refrigerator between the 1930s and 1940s, leading to people no longer needing milk delivered as often, since they could now keep it cold on their own and for longer. This is what caused the first decline in milk delivery.
The coffee shops I like to do. I also like, you know, the cafeterias where they have big walk-in coolers where I can just, instead of merchandising the milk, just bring it all in cases and leave it and just pick up empties. Those are nice too, of course. And the schools, some schools have, you know, big coolers where you can leave cases. Some you have to hand bomb and take all the stuff out, and I don't mind doing that either. When you're treading through snowdrifts, delivering houses, hopefully not getting your vehicle stuck on driveways or on streets, and of course have a wheeler of 5 cases high trying to go through snowdrifts is at times very difficult. And of course the cold weather doesn't help either, but you get used to it. That is when this job at times becomes unenjoyable, we'll say. I've had this truck since 2010, the Beast. So this is year 14 with this vehicle. And I've gone through, I think this is my 4th truck, dairy delivery truck since I started. So I've gone through a few, but when you're dealing with used equipment, you got to expect that. But it's the Beast that gets me through. We have a love-hate relationship. When it's running, I love her or him or it to death. When it's not, I'm not very happy with it. Takes a little bit getting used to. It's more like a big van, but no, it's easy to see, not very difficult to drive. What I like about the vehicle I'm in is that I can go to the back of the truck from the cab. I don't have to get out and physically go around to the back, open the door and then walk in. I have a sliding door, and so it's easy to work in and out of, and it saves time, of course, by doing that. I have a heater in the back, of course, but you know, when it's 35 below outside and you open the back door to make a stop and unload your cargo, it cools off pretty quick in the back here. So there has been 1 or 2 items that have froze in my career, we'll say, maybe more than 1 or 2. When there's a $1.75 difference in the price of a jug that I'm getting charged from my supplier, then I can get it at Superstore or the wholesale club. I mean, I'd be crazy not to do it. And when I signed my contract with my supplier, one of the stipulations was that I said, well, this is what I'm picking up my jugs. I'll certainly buy them from you if you would match the price what I'm paying at the wholesale club. And of course they said, well, no, we can't. We sell to them at a loss. And so I said, well, then in my contract, I want it stipulated that I'm not in breach of contract. I am buying your company's milk, Beatrice Milk. It's not like I'm buying your competitor's milk. It's just I'm getting it through a different source. And it's all dollar value. And when you go through, 150 jugs a week at $1.75 a jug, it's a sizable saving, we'll say. I'm kind of old school and, set in my ways, and the paper invoices work for me.
Yeah.
And obviously work for them, or else they wouldn't. Nobody's ever said, well, when are you going to come out with a computerized or a printed invoice? But I haven't had any issues with it. I mean, it is more work for me because I have to do all the adding and everything. Where if I had a handheld computer, it was a summer job, like a summer job that I did. So it's kind of been in my blood from then, and then it just kind of rolled over to where I am today. You're 39.